The FNL Network Talk Show.
Welcome to the FNL Network Talk Show. I'm your host, Emily Menshouse. Today we have some very special, we have a new first time co-host, Marianne Estrige with us. Hey Marianne, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We have Jeff and we have Adair joining with us today.
Hey, Adair.
What a crew. How are you all doing? Everyone great?
Doing good.
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Good? No bad, negative. Everybody's doing great. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
So today we have topics that we're going to be discussing, and we're going to be talking about mask mandates, which has been lifted in a lot of the cities and different towns across the United States, and some schools too, actually. But most schools are continuing in this mask mandate, and there's some reasons why. We're going to talk about that. The Nuremberg 2.0, which I don't know how many people understand what's going on in Germany right now. We're going to bring in that. And then at the end, we're going to be talking about Bob Saget, cause of death, and some other little celebrity things that's been happening over the last few weeks. But I'm really excited about our topics today, and I'm thankful to see everybody here and to meet Marianne. So thank you. Marianne, really quick, since you are the new person, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Born and raised in North Carolina. My husband and I, we kind of travel back and forth between the Wilmington area, which is near the beach, and in the central part of the state. I do have a little bit of background in modeling, a little bit of acting. It's been a while since I've done any of that. I am almost 36. So we live on a farm, and I like to spend my free time working with disabled kids, and we have a lot of animals, horses, and we're just out in the country most of the time.
Nice.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
All right. I'm pulling up my websites here. Okay. First topic of discussion today, we're going to be talking about mask mandates. And we're finding out that a lot of these mandates that have been pushed by our government and businesses is actually unconstitutional. Before we go into this, how does each one of you feel? Like, how do you feel about the mandates? Do you think that they should be pushed, or do you think that we should still have just a option to be able to say, yes, we will take this injection or not, or yes, we'll wear the mask or not? Jeff, we'll start with you.
I think that you should have an option. I feel like you should never be pushed to do anything. You know, if you feel like it, with the COVID and everything happening, you feel like you're in jeopardy or you want to jeopardize somebody older, then that should be your choice. But forcing someone to wear a mask, I feel like it's just unconstitutional. It's just, to me, it's crazy. You know, and nobody wants to be forced, especially if you're adults, to do something that you don't feel like, you have to do. You feel like it hasn't done, and jeopardize your life. And my main thing is we have a natural immune system. And I feel like our immune system should be able to fight off some of the things. That's why God created that immune system. So why are we wearing masks or, getting immune for something that we never had? How is our system ever going to fight those things off if they don't even allow it to happen? It's just, to me, it weakens the immune system. So that's my thing. I think people should have their opinion, they should have a choice if they want to do it or if they don't want to do it. That's my opinion on it.
Adair, you look like you're concentrating a little bit.
I actually have the same opinion as Jeffrey. I believe that we need to have an option. I use the mask out of respect for others. I don't necessarily believe in that it really works, but I do it out of respect to others. Actually, earlier today, I went to do some groceries and I forgot my mask, and I felt guilty to others because I respect everyone's opinion. And people were looking at me like, why is he not wearing a mask? And I was covering my face with my jacket. But yes, out of respect for others, I'll wear it, but I don't believe in it actually.
Marianne?
I believe it should be a personal choice. So I don't think it should be mandated. So I agree with you, Jeff and Adair. really, if it's a personal choice, it's each individual making their own decision, so they don't have to feel pressured. Because anytime somebody feels pressured or forced, there's going to be pushback. Me personally, I wear one if I need to, if I feel like I need to, but not always. I really feel like the mandates are creating a lot of division and a lot of arguments that could otherwise be solved if we just were all allowed to make our own choices.
I agree with that too, but also too on the boxes of the mask, and I went out and bought some too, and it says on the side, this does not protect against the COVID-19 virus that we're all fighting. And that's on the surgical, like basic masking, not the N95 mask that they're all saying. But, we have all this as opinions as adults, and I have a fifth grader, he's 12. And so over the last several weeks, I started getting a lot of messages from our local parents, like, what do you think about this? We need to fight this. We need to fight this. And I started researching and doing a lot of things with our school systems. What do you all, before I go into the details of what I'm fighting and what I think that people should go and research out themselves, and if they have children, they need to go and fight this. How do you all feel about the mask mandates within the school systems, these children that don't really necessarily have a voice, but they are depending on their parents to possibly speak up? Anybody first? Odair, I'll start with Odair first because he's looking like.
Yes, for me, I have two opinions actually. One of them is they are children. Let them be free. Let them be children. They move a lot. They play a lot. So the mask is not going to stay in the right place. So the function of it actually is not going to be beneficial. On the other side, if you look at the teacher's perspective, maybe they are afraid. Maybe they feel like they are vulnerable because they can get the COVID through kids. But like I already said, it's not using the mask does not necessarily say that you cannot get it. So for me, I would say let the children be free and let them not use the mask. But if one of the children says that he would prefer wearing one, then I will approve that and say, for yeah, do, because then we teach children to have their own opinion, to think about their actions and actually put that into work. Yes.
Marianne?
I think that it should be, I think it should be a choice. I think that people should not be ridiculed if they want to wear a mask, if they feel safer, if a child feels safer or their parents want them to wear one. I don't think they should be ridiculed for that. But like Odair was saying, if they want to, if they're playing with it all the time, and I've been in schools before, I see how the kids play with their masks and move them and switch them with other people. There's all kinds of things, especially the younger children, and they may not really understand. So I think it should be an option for the parents to decide and what they feel comfortable with.
Jeff?
This is how I feel. I feel like they shouldn't have to wear the mask. The only ones that should have to wear if they're sickly, because some kids have asthma and different ailments that could compromise their system. So I feel like they, if their parents feel like, to cover them and protect them, or even if the teachers have some underlying ailment, then that should be an option for them to wear it. But I feel like, just like I said, that immune system is a fighter. It's supposed to be able to fight off different things that come in your system. And I feel like it's not allowing it to fight. It's making us become crippled to those masks. That's my opinion. I'm ready to breathe. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
2022 is just not good.
2022 did not open up well at all on all aspects.
I was done.
I was so hopeful, and then Betty White, what happened with Betty White? I was like, here we go already with 2022. But there's plenty of documentation now with masks, because my son's high risk too. He was born prematurely, but there's a lot of research with the CO2 levels finding that there is significant CO2 retention in children with very little mobility. So I asked my son, because he's my first go-to since he's in 5th grade, and they make these kids wear masks even during PE, out on recess, everything.
Okay, that's not good.
No, and
I'm wondering. I know you can't breathe with those things on.
Well, it's gotten to the point, I almost think that this is a little bit more of like child abuse, psychological especially, but could be physical in a lot of aspects. And then, so I've had a lot of people reach out in the community, ask me if I could find out. And I found out something that I do believe that these school systems across the nation, not just here locally, they have accepted ESSER funding. Okay, you have ESSER 1, 2, and 3. ESSER 3 was just released, but the amount each district is given has not been released. So the minute or the actual small financial documents are not released yet. Hopefully that will be available by April, I'm hoping. But I found out that with ESSER funding, which was part of the COVID relief fund, that districts are being given, like my district was given $6 million to abide by guidelines that are from the CDC and to keep these kids in masks, to still continue to get this federal funding, which is our taxpayer money. And the ESSER 3, which is the last one, doesn't expire, doesn't end until September of 2024. Our kids have already been masked for 2 years. Yes, we have that virtual. I hear this argument a lot. They could just do virtual learning. Let me tell you, contact with people, with children their age is very super important for social skills.
It is. It's very important.
I'm afraid that we're raising a generation. I'm afraid we're raising a generation that's going to be antisocial first and foremost, and we'll have a lot of. And I don't know if this is just me. If anybody wants to chip in here in a second, you can. I live in one of the most depressed areas of the United States. We were actually labeled the overdose capital of the nation. If you look up heroin off of Netflix, that's my town. The brown bag ladies go to my church. That's the era I live in. And I'm afraid that we're going to raise children that are can't accept, this is really hard to explain, but have like social anxiety nature, and then depend on drugs or other means to fill that void. And they have so much anxiety even going to school now with these masks. I asked my son, I said, what's going on? How does your friends feel about this? He goes, well, we write songs. I'm like, what do you mean you write songs? And he said, well, the teachers don't know, but we write songs and it's all doom and gloom about the mask mandates and the things that's happening, because these kids are not even being able to eat lunch with their other peers. They have to stay within their classroom and 6 feet or 3 feet, I think is 3 feet's the thing now, apart from each other, and can only take their masks off when they're eating or they're drinking and then put them back on. So I know I rambled on a little bit there. This is something I'm passionate about, and I'm going to talk about why here in a minute, what parents can do. But how do you all feel about that?
First and foremost, I see the devastation in your eyes. I understand. It's just horrible because these children have an opinion. They have feelings, and he's opening up with his mom. And at school, they should listen to them and hear them out and see what they can do to make it a safe and an open environment for them, because they are trying to protect them, but actually doing the opposite with what they are doing. So that for me is just horrible to hear. And the thought of them making songs, it's good that they are being creative, but it breaks my heart to hear that is the possibility they have to exchange with each other, because the connection, the communication is being cut off. So for me, that's heartbreaking. almost brings me back to slavery, when the slave used to make songs
Oh,
to
that's
communicate
true.
with each other. And I'm like, okay, are we going backwards, or are we stepping back again? So for me, it's a little bit hard to take in, actually, what you just said.
Wow, I never thought about that like that, Adair. Thank you. That's interesting. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I'm so glad you talk about this, because I actually had a client I used to mentor, and he went to Cancun and he overdosed on the beach. Like,
Wow.
it hit me hard like 2 weeks ago, but the crazy thing, I actually just preached on this Sunday, and I had a message, and the thing that's going on is the generation, when this pandemic first hit, that generation, it hit what, 2019, 2018, something like that. From then on to now, those generations, they're not being birthed in who they are, like their giftings, their purpose, and those things are being hindered. So there's them being stagnant is allowing death for them. They don't have an outlet. They're entrapped in their mind, and they're not being free to be who they are, because that's a crucial time in their life. That's the time that they're trying to find out who they are, what they want to do, who they want to be. And when you're isolated in a place where you cannot move, they don't have any connections to figure out through the networking of other people, like their peer groups. So they're dying. They're sitting there, their mind is racing. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing, who they are. 2 or 3 years have passed. So we have to intercede on their behalf as older adults, to see what we see in them, to push them in their purpose, to push them in the things that we see that are giftings, because they're not having it. They're not receiving that in school. All they see is this mask is on my face, and I don't even know who you are because your face is covered up. I don't know what you look like. It's just crazy. You're walking. I go into places now in the stores, and I go into different places, even in my shop. I see people, they come in, I don't see the true person, because they're hiding behind a mask. I don't know what their facial expression is. I don't know if they're going through. So my gift and discernment has to kick in if they're going through stuff. And I have to be like, okay, are you good? Are you in a good place? We don't know. It's just like a hiding. And when are we going to come out of that hiding and live life again? And I think people are just at a point that they're just sick. They're just like, okay, this mask, it has to be some type of solution to this problem, because it shouldn't be 2 and 3 years, because it's not just suffering with us as adults. It's dwindling down to our kids. And our kids are suffering. They're depressed, and they're taking these drugs as an outlet, and it's not a quick fix. It's getting them addicted, and then they're committing suicide because of overdose, because they just feel like there's no way. There's a brick wall in front of them. I am so sorry, Uncle.
No, go ahead, keep going. I know what you're talking about.
It's on me so heavy, because my thing is youth. I'm always mentoring them. And I feel like they already were lost, with so much going on. They watch the TV, and they want to live out these dreams that they see on TV, which are not reality. And now their reality of what they want to do as far as their outlet, as far as them going and expressing themselves, have been totally cut off. And to me, I think it's just a disheartening. We really need to focus on the people.
Amen.
Let the people are hurting. Let's get back to the people, and X out your agenda.
But the money is the root of all evil. So it all goes back to the money, and all these board of education. And Marianne, any comments or opinions?
Yeah, I'm really just with everyone else. It's devastating. And like Jeff said, these kids they're growing up not being able to be who they are. That's being stifled. And I want to say it was very recent that I saw something where it was talking about the cloth masks don't even protect against COVID. And they're now saying you need the N95 mask. Well, then it's going to turn into something else. When is it going to be the right thing to do? It keeps changing. And it seems like every child I see, walking around with a mask, they don't look happy, and they just kind of look at the floor, and they just don't seem excited about life. And it's probably causing a lot more mental health issues than anybody realizes.
I believe it is. I believe it's psychological child abuse at this point. I mean, this has gone on for 2 years. The ESSER funding doesn't expire until, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cough, September of 2024. That's still 2 more years. They're going to keep these kids in masks for 4 years total because they're getting funding. And they have the funding for them to get that amount of money. They have to go by the CDC regulations. Okay. Well, the CDC recommends masks. Is there a difference between recommending and requiring? I think so.
Yeah. Recommend is just say if you choose to.
So to me, when I read the CDC, it says it recommends 2 years old and older. So we have a lot of these preschool kids having masks on, 7 hours to 8 hours a day.
That's
Children in PE, during lunch, during breakfast, where they just take it down, eat, and then put it back up. Then you have these little hands that are everywhere, and then they're trying to adjust their masks. Like, to me,
sometimes I just wonder if there are hidden cameras and that we're all being fooled, because if we stop for a second and think about it, what's the most, the hands are dirty. Children's hands often are dirty. They get things from the floor, they go to the face. And now because of the mask, instead of going 10 times to the face, they're gonna go 30 by 50.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what we're doing. And I am wondering, I also said this a couple of months ago in one of the topics that we had, but when is enough going to be enough? When are we going to say, what are we going to do is my question one. And when are we going to say enough is enough? And are we going to take responsibility to be like, till here and not further? I don't want this anymore for my children, and go on, because I don't know what's happening.
well, I'll tell you, that leads into this. Thank you, Odair, for saying that, because bondsforthewin.com, I got involved in this. All of our Board of Education members have to vote for mask mandates, okay? But first and foremost, our board members make an oath to the Constitution, and they swear by the Constitution that they will uphold the laws and our freedoms from that. That's their number one priority. Well, now they got suckered into all this and getting grant money, or not grant money, but federal money and things to keep. And it would not surprise me if teachers, even eventually teachers that get vaccinated, will get like an extra bonus off this grant money, or I keep saying grant, federal money, which probably maybe should be, they don't have to pay it back, but federal money. So first and foremost, they have to take that oath. So every Board of Education member has a surety bond that they have to hold when they hold a public office. When they go against what they've swore that they took oath to, which usually with these school districts, there's 25 laws, federal and international laws that they're breaking with these mandates. You can go into bondsforthewin.com. They have broke down every state that you're in to show what laws that they have broken for our school systems and our children. And you can, first and foremost, the first step is get a FOIA, Freedom of Information, surety bond information, or liability insurance information. You get that. Then you have to write a letter of intent and show all the laws that they're breaking and serve the board. Because once you give a letter of intent that you're going to file a claim on their surety bond because they broke their oath, or their liability insurance because they broke their oath, then what happens is it cuts off all federal and state funding to that district until it's resolved. And then you list out, how can this be resolved? No mask mandates. The superintendent must resign. The Board of Education people must not be reelected or can't run for reelection. Things like that. to resolve. And what that stops is all funding. They will not have money to pay their teachers or staff. And it's gotten to that level that we're going to have to do this to be able to stick up for our children, because they're going to still continue to push this. And if they push the mask mandate, they're going to push an injection mandate. I don't even call it a vaccine, because it doesn't help, in my opinion. So an injection mandate on our children, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm thankful that I came across this, because I kept saying things in the beginning, like they take an oath for our Constitution. They work for the people. They don't work for the state. They work, they don't work for the money. They work for us. And a lot of these Board of Education members here, specifically in my town, a parent kept messaging the Board of Education. There's an attorney on our Board of Education, and it's a bully intimidation tactic that got me so mad. And this is what got me fired up. She was just sending links. She's concerned her child has asthma. He was having problems with his mask. Well, he got a medical note where he didn't have to wear masks, but he said that he was set aside and got made fun of. He felt like the teachers picked on him a little bit. He's a fourth grader. So he continues to wear the mask. She sent me videos. She sent this video to the Board of Education. I cried watching the videos of this kid. Cried. And then after 2 emails, the gentleman that's a lawyer messaged her back, said that they could not respond to her any further unless she got legal representation. And I'm like, this is a Board of Education where a parent is coming. No threats were in that email, just information listed. This is what's happening to my son. Can we please discuss or change mandates? Can it just be optional? Nothing. And that email back to her, I believe, in my opinion, was aggressive, and it was an intimidation tactic. And I was like, who does this guy think he is? Because he's just an attorney. He thinks he can say that to somebody else. Like I cried. So I think that's what a lot of parents are facing when they go, because not just in our district, other places I've researched this out, the Board of Education is just not even responding to parents anymore, which is kind of sad. How do you all think about any of that? If you were a Board of Education member, would you respond that way?
No, it hit me. I didn't mean to cut across you, dear. You want to speak?
No, you go ahead.
I think it's crazy because when you talk about asthma, I have asthma, and I experienced that. And the thing is, when we're having attacks, we can't breathe. And I've tried to wear that mask when I'm having an attack. It is so miserable. I have to take the mask off because you're already short of breath, and those masks don't allow you to breathe. So you have to take it off. It makes it worse. It's the worst experience. And I was like, oh my God, Lord, please do not let me get sick anymore in the midst of this pandemic, because I actually had a tap, because sometimes in my shop, when they're using certain chemicals, if my cousin is doing hair and the smoke, it irritates my respiratory system. And I didn't realize it till I was in it. And then I learned that it was making me have attacks. So anytime he's here, I have to leave out the shop when he's doing hair and he's, frying. I call it frying hair. And sometimes I have to leave because the smoke triggers me to have an asthma attack. And it's the worst. Like wearing a mask when you're having that, you really cannot breathe. You already can't breathe because you're trying to get that respiratory system to allow you to breathe, because it's tight. And to wear a mask and you're trying to breathe and you're grasping for air and it's on your face, it's really not a good feeling. I can vouch for that.
That's air.
Yeah. So, it's just not good that people are forcing people. It's another way of death.
Yes, for me, I don't believe a board should react like that. You should listen to people, because that's your job, to listen and to put everything into perspective and to look how you can come up with a solution, the perfect solution, not a solution that is beneficial for yourself or your beliefs, but what is beneficial for the organization you're representing. And in this case, this is a serious case. It's a health case. So you have to listen to what people are saying and see how you can resolve that actually and come up with a plan that works. So for me to hear that parents are not being taken seriously or even being bullied in a way, is a very serious cause. And for me, that's an action to take in for to see who this border is, what they are doing, and how can they adjust or improve, because it's not the perfect way to go about this.
Well,
The good way.
it all comes down to money, which is kind of sad. And, you know, our district here in Ashland, Kentucky, with ESSER 3 funding, not ESSER 2 or ESSER 1, because they got funding during that, but they got 6 million, close to 6 million in federal money that will expire September of 2024. So it's about money, and it's sad that we come to that. So 2 things that parents can do is look into the surety bonds and things for your state and your board members, or just vote these people out.
Yeah.
This term coming up, vote them out. Get all new people. Like, this is not right, especially when people just ignore parents in general. I can't stand that. Cannot stand that. I've had some other incidences while my son's in school and I've been ignored. I would never ignore a parent that has concerns. So if your Board of Education is doing that, vote them out, and hope for a better board with change to help our children grow and be healthy emotionally, mentally, and physically. So
Yes,
and for all the parents out there, keep talking to your kids. Communication
Yes.
is key to find out how they are feeling, health-wise, feeling-wise, frustrations, all those types of things. Bring it to the table and talk about it, because that's very important. There is resting a lot of more responsibility on your shoulders than you had before, actually. So take that in consideration and talk with your children, find out what's going on, because schools is supposed to be a safe place for them to go, but because of these requirements and things, it's changing the situation.
it is. It's scary. Like he's dealing with things I never dreamed that I would never ever deal with in school. So definitely communication with your children is important. Speaking of communication, which this has been blocked off all kinds of different mainstream social media platforms, so you know it's the truth. That's my opinion. There is a grand jury going on right now. I'm going to read a little bit here. A grand jury proceeding by the People's Court. This is going to be called Nuremberg 2.0, okay? And it's a grandjury.net. If anybody wants to go and listen to it, they just started this week. And it's a group of international lawyers and a judge hereby are conducting criminal investigations modeled after the United States grand jury proceedings. This grand jury investigation serves as a model legal proceeding to present a jury consisting of the citizens of the world, all available, and this is being held in Germany, by the way, all available evidence of COVID-19 crimes against humanity to date against leaders, organizers, instigators, and accomplices who aided, abetted, and actively participated in the formation and execution of the common plan for the pandemic, which they are putting tons of people on trial for this, specifically in America, obviously Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci. Have you all heard of this? Have you all listened to any of it? What do you think is going to be the conclusion of all this?
I have heard about it. I'm sitting back and seeing how this is gonna go, because for me it's too early to have an opinion. I am glad that there is some movement and everything, but I want to see. I want to have. We're 2 years in. I want to have results. I want to see things change and being results, having solutions, those types of things. So I'm sitting and waiting actually for what the results are going to be from this.
Jeff?
I feel like it's a fight back. I feel like it's going to be some exposing. I think just like you said, I think we've been in this pandemic for over 2 years, and it's time for change. And I feel like that's going to be some of the change. And everybody is just tired. Like, everybody in America is just tired. I think the oneness is going to come where we just going to get tired and not be fighting amongst each other, because that's what they want us to do, to fight amongst each other, so that we can't see what the issue is. So we can't see what the issue is. And I think we said, look, we need to come together. We got to find out how we can breathe again and live life and be set free, because we're enslaved with these masks. And it's altering the people's mind, and they're engaged in their mind, and they're suicidal, and they're depressed, and something has to happen. Something has to break. And I feel like, okay, let it break. Come on, let's bring it. So I'm like, oh, there, I'm sitting back and I'm gonna see how the chips fall. And I hope they fall in the right place so that we can lift our hands up and be running out cheerful and happy and thankful. And because I'm ready to be in a thankful mindset and not worrying about, I got to give it a warning. Am I going to be okay, or am I going to get COVID? Or is that COVID, or is it a cold? You know, I don't want to be confused. So that's where.
Well, I'm gonna read this little segment, and then I want to get Marianne's opinion. Marianne, we've moved on to this grandjury.net that's going to be called the Nuremberg 2.0. So really quickly, what this is an investigation. This investigation is of the people, by the people, and for the people, and shall be referred to as the People's Court of Public Opinion. Having been unable to find a court to hear the actual evidence, which that's not surprising. We know our judicial system is just as bad as our medical. In the current system's courts of law, we are undertaking this proceeding outside the current system and based on natural law. This in turn is founded on the firm belief that every person can easily distinguish between good and evil, between right and wrong. And I think that's what this has all come down, good versus evil, right and wrong. Marianne, what do you think about this possible being Nuremberg 2.0? Green.
Scary. Really, I was researching it, and because basically it's saying if it's the same thing as the Nuremberg trials, they had people that were affiliated with Hitler on trial with that. And a lot of people think the vaccine is experimental, and they don't think that it's, because it was developed so quickly. I just think it's scary. I think it's frightening that all of this division it's come to this, and we have so much division. And I think good versus evil is absolutely what it comes down to. Standing up for what's right.
And it feels like the people that stand up for what's right gets muffled a lot, or called crazy, or labeled a conspiracy theorist or whatever. But if you start looking back over time, and especially I listened to the first hour and a half of testimony of some experts in this on the website. It really, all this has been pre-planned, even back right before 9/11. And the swine flu was their first testing of possibly having a pandemic. It failed greatly in the very beginning, so they kind of crafted it and became more strategic in how they were going to use, and actually ended up buying more of the mainstream media during this time, from the swine flu, which was in 2009 till now. So everybody's been bought out. We got politicians that have been bought out. We have mainstream news media that's been bought out to follow these guidelines. It's all about money. Money is the root of evil. Like when the Bible says that, and when I'm sorry, everybody, I'm a Christian, so I go by the Bible. In being young and in Bible college, it's like, oh, so money is the root of all evil. Didn't think anything else about it. But now that I'm 40 and seeing this stuff, and everything comes back down to money, so many people's been bought out to be part of this team that's so evil. They sell their souls, really. And I think this is a lot darker and deeper than anyone that could ever imagine. And I even try to share this link in the Facebook chats today, the grandjury.net, to have other people listen and see what they would get from it, my friends. They won't even let me share that link in Messenger. So to me, I feel like this is something that's true. And they have absolute wonderful experts in all different areas of the world coming together to expose this.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying that the vaccine is, I don't even want to call it a vaccine anymore. It's an injection, because a vaccine seems to me over the years helps what the element that's going on or the disease that might be happening, and corrects that. And we find out through these 3 or 4, whatever, how many numbers it is right now, it's not doing that. It's not resolving. And you see actually more people are being subject to COVID after the injections and the boosters, and then also other illnesses that's come about that. They talked about that a little bit too in the first hour and a half of this discussion. So it's an injection rather than a vaccine, and they go into detail, which I was absolutely shocked on some things, because I researched this, so I understood. But there are some things in this thing, like I'm like, oh my gosh, how are these people even standing and still claiming their positions that they are, especially Bill Gates and Fauci. So, any opinions? Excuse me, about it? The vaccine rather than an injection. It's called injection rather than a vaccine, and this is crimes against humanity. I mean, did you ever think you'd live in a time?
I didn't.
I didn't.
I will say, and this is personal, what I have had happen with me. I lost my hair after I got the vaccine. This is weave.
Wow.
I mean, I love my weave. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's some high dollar hair, but I didn't have a lot of hair to begin with. And I was getting my hair done a few months after, and my hairdresser said, Marianne, you've got a bald spot. I was like, what? I don't have enough hair to lose anyway. So yeah, it was a bald spot. Went to the dermatologist, and she's like, yeah, you have alopecia. Aloe what? Like, I don't want that. And for somebody like me, there are much worse things that can happen. I understand, but that's just something small that happened to me. I will say, I know people that have had strokes, shortly after getting it. Did it cause it? One of them was 35 and helped. It's really hard because it's hard to prove it, but it makes you think, it makes you think. Somebody that was totally healthy and had a stroke. I read something about autoimmune, conditions happening after getting it. And that's what happened to me. I got alopecia. Now, luckily it was just one small spot and it's starting to grow back, but still, it's not pleasant. I've heard of a lot of other side effects. It's nuts.
Jeff, or there?
Yeah, for me, I already told about what I think about the vaccine. For me, it's just horrible. And hopefully people are not getting, like Marianne already said, she had some things happening to her concerning the vaccine. I hope we get to a solution very fast. It can go away again, but a lot of people have already taken it. So keep on reading, keep on checking all the information you need to know concerning your body, like your immune system, what do you have to do, eat, vitamins, all those types of things. Don't only see the injection or the vaccine. And actually what you said, Emily, about calling it an injection instead of a vaccine, I agree with you, but take the knowledge in every perspective. The injection is not the only solution. That's my opinion.
It's not. But they try to muffle out the other solutions so they could get that emergency use, because
just think about it. We have the whole world of healthcare thinking about the solution, and we can only come up with one. Right. We can only come up with one solution.
Money. It's all money. They get the money. Jeff?
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like the shots, but the thing is, like you said, my thing is, my substitute is I take the ginger shots if I feel like something's going on, because the ginger actually breaks all that mucus up, because that's what it is. The mucus is so built up in your lungs, you can't breathe. When you take them ginger shots, it pushes that thing out. So they, like you said, it is a money thing. They just won't tell you the easy way that you can, if you feel like you getting something to get rid of it. They're not going to tell you that. They really want to make billions of dollars off of it, and they have made billions of dollars off of it. But I don't like it. I think what you said is just it's an injection. It's not making anybody better. It's not fighting off anything. It's issues just coming behind it. That's what I'm saying. I feel like in the last 2 to 3 years, it's going to be so many of us that would have been affected versus us coming out of it better. There's going to be side effects like what she just experienced with alopecia, and I think they really messing us up with this COVID stuff and these shots, and
it's about money. I say Anthony Fauci is a pharmaceutical broker, not a public advocate for health. So, but since all this has gone down, this is going to go into our last topic tonight. That's a little interesting. A lot of celebrities have passed away here recently, especially Betty White and things. And there's been some rumored talks about they just got their booster before they passed away, things like that. They said Bob Saget got his booster a week before he passed away. Betty White got her booster 3 days before she passed away. And there was another celebrity too, I can't think of right now, that they're saying the same thing. So I'm going into this thinking, okay, this could be booster injection related. But then Bob Saget's cause of death was released. Did y'all see that?
No, I didn't.
Head trauma?
He said they said it was head trauma, that he hit his head and went to sleep. This is suspicious to me, because 3 months beforehand, he's doing his podcast with his wife, Kelly Rizzo.
I saw that.
Yeah.
This is just weird. Am I the only like you're laughing over there? Like,
I mean, it made you think. I watched it. It made you think.
Inform me a little bit. I didn't see it. Can you guys inform me a little bit about the video?
So Bob Saget and his wife are doing a podcast, and he does it on YouTube too. This is about 3 months ago. They're talking about their favorite movies. Like, they just want to stay in and cuddle or whatever, watch movies. And her favorite movies is like Godfather, Scarface, all these mobster movies. And he said, well, I'm not safe for something with you. Somebody's going to find me dead in bed, And so it just so happened 3 months later, that was happened with the head. Like, he had a contusion on the back of his head. Now, people have been saying this too with Bob Saget, that he was on Epstein's Island and that he's tied with Ghislaine Maxwell and things. And I've researched Ghislaine Maxwell backwards and forwards, and Bob Saget's name has never popped up on that. So I think that might be a rumor, but I talked to a friend of mine that saw Bob Saget in the 90s on a comedy tour and was talking about his daughter's friends being attractive, and they were 15-year-olds. And then I start looking up stuff where they had fake dolls of the Olsen twins to like fill in during Full House, and he made some sexual references to the Olsen twin dolls. So my mind is just like flipping around, like, something suspicious. Like, that song, Don't Be Suspicious, Don't Be Suspicious, or whatever. I was like, okay. But I cannot guarantee that he was on Epstein Island or on Epstein's. I can't find it. I can't find it personally. Logs. Like, what do you all think about this? Do you think that his death is something that needs to be investigated a little bit more?
Yeah, I do. I think so. It's just strange. When I saw the little podcast, that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
So it's so strange. I personally think yes.
And then we had Miss USA, Chris, what's her last name? Chris?
Chesley.
Chesley, Chris. She's beautiful, beautiful girl inside and out. And supposedly also labeled, or not also but labeled suicide. But now they're saying that there's evidence of a struggle. And I felt like in the initial being of it, like I thought something in my heart felt like something was wrong with that. And so now people are saying that they think that she was pushed off of that floor rather than her jumping. So now they're saying too, this is just all through the social medias, okay, TikTok especially, saying that they're just so unfunded, like defund the police. There's not that much police force task, and they're busy with other things, that they're just writing these things off as suicide and not investigating them as murder or just a natural cause of death. So have y'all heard of the same thing, Jeff?
I haven't heard what you're saying. I personally, I try to stay off social media so I can stay focused the way God is speaking to me, because some of this social media stuff will have you so twisted, and you have to be careful. So I'm always very careful, because there's just so much going on in society right now, and you just don't know. So, even with what you just said about young lady Chrisley, I actually researched on her, and the thing that blew me was she interviewed the stars about mental issues. Mm-hmm. So it blew my mind. Why didn't she have the information and use it for herself? It didn't make any sense to me. Like, she talked heavily about some of these stars that struggle with issues, and for her to commit suicide, and they said that she had mental issues, and like, she was 30, but she was a beautiful girl. She was a prime. So, but beauty is not everything. There's other inner issues that hide behind that. And to me, I feel like we're just not dealing with the outer surface of people, and we're not really seeing what's really going on with people. It's the other things that they're hiding behind. And it's just unfortunate. I just hope we just become a better nation, where we're just loving people, loving them, and going back to, if we see or feel like something's going on with them, we like, are you good? Are you, I'm really concerned about you. I don't think it's enough of that. We're just moving through the hustle and bustle of life, and we're trying to get to that point of success or whatever. And it's pushing this person out the way. Well, if they're gone, I'm the next person, and there's just no heart in it. And I think we need to get back to the heart of who we are as people, so that we can come together and love each other, and not allow things to come and separate us, because it's too much separation and dividing in the earth. It shouldn't be that much. It's too much. It's not one group of things. It's like all over. It's too much dividing. It's like, and it's sure. With that, it's destined for crashes and turmoil and stuff, because what we've released in the earth sets things in motion. Like, we speak those things. So you got two wars, the love and the hate going on. Something's gonna burst. It's just unfortunate. It is what it is. And I just wish we just change our hearts. Change our hearts. And it's needed, because it's just a cry out right now. It's really a cry out if we really think about it. All situations is a cry out. So let's love. I love all of y'all. I love y'all. If there's something going on, I'm here to help. I'm here. I'll pray for you. I don't want you to be, because you got greatness in you. I build people up. It's too much to turn people down. Let me build you up, encourage you. I see greatness.
Wow, yes.
That's what I'm talking about. I can't.
True. Speak out.
So that's just where I am. I think we can reverse the curse, y'all.
We can.
Let's go on. Let's start just speaking encouragement and love, and say, okay, we love y'all. We love United States. United States is great. We start changing our wording. Things will change.
We love you, the Netherlands. We love you, the Netherlands.
We love you too.
Netherlands too. Yeah.
I want to come visit you. Am I welcome?
We're all gonna go visit O'Dare.
Me too.
That's
it. Let's go. Field trip.
Yes.
Well, our hour has already come. I hate it. I feel the love right now, but our hour has come to an end. It goes by so fast.
Yeah, I'm really
Yes. We talked a lot about today.
Thank you, Jeff, Adair, Marianne, so much for being part of the FNL Talk Show, Network Talk Show today. Thank you. And we'll be back again next week, spreading some more love.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
On
Do
the
that.
networks. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on the FNL Talk Show.
Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Bye.